Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Much Improv About Nothing. I'm Angie Higgins, Silicon Valley Shakespeare's artistic director, and we are so happy to have audience members from near and far joining us tonight. We have well over 100 people, close to 200 people are going to be logging in to share in this community experience and laugh it up with our comedy sports players. We are so privileged to have them volunteering to help raise funds for Silicon Valley Shakespeare and keep free Shakespeare in the Park alive and well, and this free programming. So thank you to them. They are coming from San Jose, LA, Portland, and Seattle. So in the chat, give it up for Mr. Jeff Kramer, everybody.
Thanks, Angie. We're not getting paid for this. Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna do it anyway. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, Silicon Valley Shakespeare fans and comedy sports fans and people from all over the country. So glad you're able to join us in raising money for a really great cause. Not only is Comedy Sports forced to close its doors at this point, but Silicon Valley Shakespeare had to cancel the entire summer season. So we're hoping to raise enough money to help them out so that they're able to reopen eventually. We're able to reopen eventually and welcome all of you. So tonight is going to be an evening of improvised Shakespeare. I will not be doing this alone. I'd like to introduce the rest of my friends and fellow performers coming to you from the entire West Coast of comedy sports. So we have from Portland, we have Patrick Short and Ruth Jenkins and Amy Gray. Hi, everybody. From Seattle, we have Silicon Valley Shakespeare alumnus Drew Simchick. And from Los Angeles, we have Rick Stedman. And joining me from San Jose, Silicon Valley Shakespeare alumnus Tom Goff and Derek McCaw. There they are. So we're going to be doing, in addition to attempting to improvise a play that Shakespeare has never written, and in fact, while we're getting ready for that, I want you to start thinking of the title to a play that Shakespeare has never written. So just start thinking about that. We're going to ask you to, in the chat area, to put that down in a few minutes, but you can be thinking about that right now. Something that doesn't sound like anything Shakespeare has ever written, but we're going to create that for you. But as a warm-up, we're going to do a few short improvised Shakespeare bits, and I'm going to turn things over to Patrick Short right now, who's going to get some suggestions from you. For the first thing we're going to do, we're going to attempt to improvise a Shakespearean sonnet. So I'm going to hand it over to Pat. Go ahead, Pat.
Thank you so much. I'm going to relocate.
All right.
Good evening. Now is the summer of our quarantine, made more glorious by the fact that we are here. And in this rash-levied time, we are here to raise money for our players of the Valley. So, to get us started, we will create a sonnet from the well of your creation. If you would be so kind as to put into chat a concept of something that makes you very happy this summer. A concept that makes you very happy this summer. Throw that into chat, we'll select it, and then the players will create a sonnet. Tremendous ideas, and of course there are a lot of people here, and boy, that chat flew by very quickly. But I did see from Julie the concept of thunderstorms. Thunderstorms. So I invite Much Improv About Nothing and the players to a sonnet about thunderstorms.
Many a night it was I lay alone,
wakening to the sound of drums on the roof.
The thunder drove my cats beneath my throne,
and made the covers come off my legs with a poof.
I raised myself in the brightest of light.
I donned my weeds and ran down all the stairs.
And did that which I know should certainly be right.
And discovered a soppingness to all my wares.
Oh, cursed luck, a leak is in my house.
And me without any coverage to save.
It drowneth everything, including my mouse.
And so I looked unto the sky, ever, ever bright, and I said to myself, oh, such fear, I must take flight.
And that is our sonnet, ladies and gentlemen. Please applaud politely. And now, I relocate and tell you of the time that I came back to my castle at Dunsinane. Yet on the way, I encountered weird sisters who foretold of my future. And yea, they can foretell of your future as well. So, gentles, now is your opportunity to ask these future-seeking and seeing beings about your personal and relationship problems, your work problems, your family problems, things you need to solve, and perhaps in this time, advice for a do-it-yourself at-home project. Please put these into the chat as we encounter the weird sisters. Sisters, Sir Bob Clapp needs to know what to do as his sister keeps trying to murder him with a spoon.
Oh.
First,
She
Must.
endure.
multiple
9.
Then
without
Fail.
she
should
Magnetize.
her
elbow
Under.
his
tutelage.
Sisters, the Lady Louisa needs to know what she should include on her webpage. What should she include upon her webpage?
Graphics.
and
Links
Seems pretty simple. Sisters, the Lord Edward needs to know what show he should binge next on Netflix.
Edward.
the
binge-worthy
Your
next
enjoyment
should
be
without
fail
the
last
of
the
thrones.
I'm sorry, Lord Edward, you might need HBO Max for that. Yet, verily, we go to the Lady Kelly, who wants to know how to get her dog to love her as much as the dog loves her mom.
Oh, dogs.
are
Often
Finicky.
however
there
Love.
can
be
Bought.
with
a
Peanut butter.
and
ham
Sandwich.
Sisters,
Huh?
Ardal Gupta needs to know. Their coffee is tasting too sweet. What do they do? Their coffee tastes too sweet.
Coffee.
is
inherently
Bitter.
like
the
Heart
of
her
lover.
Begone, sisters.
Ah?
Begone. Friends, Romans, Californians, lend me your ears. And welcome to the 1496 London Olympics. Today, a new sport will be created within the walls and confines of this theater. In the chat, please give us the suggestion of a indoor or outdoor chore. An outdoor chore might be raking the leaves. An indoor chore might be washing the dishes. Yet verily, you should choose something else. And we will go to the chat to find out what that will be. Excellent. There's a lot of stuff here. Oh, here it is. From Eden. Our sport will be putting the cover on the pool. Putting the cover on the pool. And now, to our commentating team, inside the globe.
And back are we. It is time for competitive pool covering. I am, of course, your host, Tristan of Trent, and with me, as always,
Lulu of
Yeah.
Lilliput.
Lulu. It is a fine, fine day to put a cover upon a pool. We have two fine competitors today.
In sooth, we do. And the first is Lord Derek. Lord Derek has won the competition 3 years running. He is a man who knows how to cover a pool.
Aye, he knoweth well. And his challenger today, from the Low Countries, Sir Drew. Drew. Must be Belgian. Drew is, Drew is here as well to compete. He knoweth well to cover the pool, for indeed most of the Low Countries are pools.
'Tis true. And now, there is the arrow, and they are off.
The opening arrow indeed. Now, Derek, he graspeth the pool cover as one would hold one's lover, gently but firmly, and to his breast.
He takes it to his breast, while Drew, the other side of him, has seemed to have some sort of a shaking palsy. Nay, he shakes it as if it were a wet noodle.
Aye, and I see Derek, he has unfurled his cover as would a matador in a bull ring. Less popular here, we prefer bear baiting. Now I see the cover has fully graced the ground in front of both competitors.
'Tis true. And once that is done, there is yet another step. Oh, why look, he doth take the brush of the pool and apply it to the very top of it. Thus may it be cleaned for all to enter.
Aye, now Derek swingeth his pole as one would a broom. An unusual stratagem, that.
And I know Derek hath been known to swing his pole a time or two. And as he,
particularly when he's in his cups.
'tis true, and certain he is in his cups, for that is the way to start such a match. I know myself, when I competed, I had a cup or two before the start. But look at Drew. Look what Drew... Why, Drew has splashed water in the general direction of Derek.
'Tis rude, and most uncouth. And yet he continueth, he proddeth Derek, he proddeth him with his pole.
He doth, and knowing Derek's disposition, it may be Drew's undoing.
Aye, Derek is a homicidal madman, and is indeed. He has clutched
The hose! It's the hose! The filling hose! And he has it around Drew's neck!
Aye, he pulls it as one would pull a noose, and indeed has fashioned a noose from it now.
And...
Ah, alas. They surviveth.
And sport was more violent then, as you saw, and the Olympics were not continued for nearly a century after. Next, tonight, our play. Yet we do not know what the play is yet, and we need your suggestions of titles. If you would put them into chat, we will have a moment. May we have some music from the maestro, Scott. Pretty amazing, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to take a simple title from Ariel. Our play tonight is The Quarrel of Lovers. And ladies and gentlemen, now the 38th and heretofore unknown play of William Shakespeare. Tonight at Silicon Valley Shakespeare Festival, here in the Deer Park, The Quarrel of Lovers.
Ah, my husband, my friend. I know that we shall never be apart. I know that he's...
Darling, I cometh, but the host hath turned off my camera.
Alas, I hear his voice, but I do not see him before me. What I do see is a door. And you are stout and true as any door, my love.
Ah, sweet Philippa, you are kind as an angel would be were an angel kind and not vicious.
And I would be an angel unto you, to guide thee every step and keep thee safe, wherever you did go.
Sweet love, my dearest dear, and oh my heart, I love thee as I cannot in fact say.
Say, Rinaldo, try.
I shall. Philippa, I love thee as I love the welkin above, when 'tis blue and cloudless. I love thee as I love the sea, when 'tis calm and glassy. I love thee as I love the fields, when they are green and fruited.
I love thee as the storm strikes and the wind tosses the trees. I love thee as a wind-tossed surf scattering the ships before it. And I love thee as a harvest of grain, ready to feed all with your generosity.
Philippa, would that I could woo thee as I wished. Would that my parents did indeed consent to you and I a match be making yet. And though they don't, I love thee still, my love.
I am so happy in thy presence, but it makes me sad to think on this. Oh, were it we could run away.
Aye. Can we not? Can we not?
And
Just...
forsake your fortune and my good name?
What is a fortune but money and the capacity to purchase? Need we a fortune when we have our love to sate us?
I think not. But without a good name, how will we retain our presence in society? How will we hobnob with the barons and the dukes, as my family is wont to do?
Thou canst take my name, love, and be as I.
I will think upon it. I do love thee like the storm and all that thing that I said before, yet I feel a good name is necessary to succeed in life.
My love, thou pierced my heart in twain. I wish that thou wouldst come with me anon.
But wait a little while, and give me the greater part of your heart with me.
Aye, thou hast all of my heart, as the king hast all of the taxpayers' funds. And like their funds thou mayst do with my heart as thou pleaseth, for indeed my heart is not discretionary.
I shall keep it safe. Give me but 2 days, and I shall have an answer for thee. I dare say now my answer may be yes.
I live in hope and wait now for 2 days.
2 days then, and go now with my love.
I leave thee, love. I go, and now I go. And as I go, I do not go slow.
Oh, fie on't, fie! Here I sit, in a room which I have seen so little these past 15 years. Food is prepared here, but I have not seen it, nor done it. Yet here I am. Knowest thou why? My wife hath exchanged with her the duties of the household, so that I may now begin to learn the culinary arts, and the scrubbing of pans, and the preparation of food. I do confess, here with no one to hear me, but the kitchen mice, that I am completely at sea. Zooms! I did see a vision once, just a moment, and now 'tis gone. Oh, the smell of delicious victuals hath made me hallucinate. Oh!
Why,
Now come.
my ridiculous husband,
Oh.
hast thou not done the scrubbing that I asked of thee yet?
Nay, for I was talking to myself. The vision! Once more! Seest not, my wife? Oh,
Nay, I see nothing. What hast thou eaten that thou art hallucinating thus?
I consumed only these mushrooms.
Oh, but I was saving those mushrooms for another time. Well, put them aside and think not on't, for next we must prepare for the Lady Philippa. We must prepare her something that will ensure her love to her husband is never ending.
The Lady Philippa comes here?
Yes. Why, toward the end of the day she will come, and we must have something, perhaps oysters. Oysters will do nicely. Have you any that may be quickly shucked?
I know not even the sight of oysters, let alone how to shuck them.
Husband, why did I marry thee? For thou art no gourmand as I would have. I must teach thee a thing or two.
My wife, I have determined in these 5 seconds to learn to shuck oysters immediately. I shall show thee how easy all of these duties actually are.
Ah, how many oysters would a Lupio shuck if a Lupio could shuck an oyster? We shall see.
Thou wilt see indeed.
Why then, I will meet thee later in the day, and I will count thine oysters. Farewell.
I go now, some oysters for to shuck. I hope I shall have better luck.
Ay me, it has been a very long afternoon, working my way through the surf, trying to find the shellfish that I may take to the kingdom and thus please the royals. If only my boon companion could join me, and yet I know not where he be. Oh, I have bent my back many, many an hour. And oh, these oysters, they be most watery and fresh, and I am so alone. Well, I go about it.
Genomio!
Oh,
Genomio!
Denuncio, my boon companion, is it thee? I did not wish to wake thee when I arose this morning, but I thought that perhaps you would have gotten my note and come out a little sooner.
Genomio, thou
Yes.
knowest I cannot read. I saw the paper, yet I did not know which cove to go to, and I chose the wrong cove.
Denuncio, I thought it was clear. I cannot write. Therefore, we would have just known. I left the paper because I like to put on airs.
Genomio, I have loved thee and worked next to thee for many years. I know thou canst write. Thou knowest I cannot read. And yet we have these japes.
Well, there's no denying that. And therefore we shall indeed continue, for I have found these years we have worked alongside each other to be the brightest that one man could ask of another. And yet, the more we share these tender words, the less we pull oysters out of the water.
'Tis true, and yet I know not why oysters are required at this time.
Call it a sixth sense, a feeling that I had when I woke at 3 in the morning. I had a vision of two people in a scullery that I was not familiar with. I was in my sleeping cap, and they saw candles around me, and I saw pots and pans around them, and strife.
Genomio. I woke at 3 because of the many jars I had last night.
Aye.
And yet you were not abed.
Was I walking in my sleep again, Denuncio?
Thou must have been. Thou must have been.
Was I anywhere in the hovel?
Nay, brother Genomio.
I didst wake it at 5:30, and there was mud on my bare feet. I just thought you were playing another jape.
'Twas no jape. Thou hast walked. Genomio, we must grab the oysters. We must hurry.
For indeed there be magic, and I do hope that with this magic there be no darkness. Let there be goodness in what we do with these oysters.
Let there be goodness, Genomio.
And so, as I have told thee, they banished me from the kingdom, all by way of my brother.
Thy brother has a soul blacker than a cat box, not emptied for a fortnight, ravaged by a mean and gradient feline. For
Curse
I
it!
have...
Curse Ronaldo and all he stands for. He swooped in and stole the heart of the fair Philippa from me.
Yes. Well, fortunately thou comest to me at right the time, for I have developed and concocted a vexing potion that will leave your brother into thy whims.
A potion, you say? Show it here.
Yea.
Show it here.
Yea, but 1, maybe 2 droplets, given that your brother has some substantial girth, and it may take time for the metabolics to course through his humors properly. 2 drops, I say.
And once
into
I
his
give him the
carousing
drops.
wine.
In wine, you say?
Yes, preferably a Zinfandel after my name, but a Merlot or a Muscat or even a brave Chianti might do the trick, but avoid the Pinot Blanc.
I shall try. Your knowledge of spirits is vast, especially those of the grape.
I have naught but to do up here alone in the forest, but to carouse and quaff various sacks and aquavites that I may.
'Tis true, I did notice the girth and color of your red nose. Perhaps thou shouldst seek help from among thy brethren who also have the same problem, and you could stay anonymous to each other and not let anyone else know of your meetings.
Indeed, but that must then calls for needs to visit a barber. For yea, I do enjoy my hermitage, for I care not for my appearance.
I can see that. There would be few people who would care for thy appearance other than thyself. But I ask thee, what would be the effect of your potion upon my brother?
Why, thy will. Whate'er thou concoct, whatever deviant schemes of malevolence thou can concoct upon thy skull, will be enacted upon thy brother. But yea, it must be done within a 15-minute time frame of him carousing, lest he may reverse the course.
The potion lasts all of but 15 minutes?
For it to be enacted, once enacted, it will last a lifetime. But thou must think with all thy might within those 15 minutes to enact the potion. Or yea, I fear thy path will not be set as thou wished.
I believe I follow thee. At least I know about half of what you have said, old vinegar-smelling man. But that shall not stop me from my plan.
Yea, but I lift to thee, to my lips a drink to thee, but you drink as well. Come!
All right, all right. I'll quaff with thee.
Yay! And now, avenge thyself, for I will be watching in my mind's eye to know the outcome with delight and glee. For thy brother has long since wronged me, yea, though it be many decades since he did pull my undergarments up through my backside. I have not forgot.
I shall do as thou hast said.
Yea.
Sweet Philippa.
Reynaldo, one day has passed.
Aye, one full day, and the hours have crept as slowly as a garden snail. In though I have whipped at the snail and said, hours pass faster.
I must say I have begged the hours to pass as well, and though it is my mind which makes the clock run slow, I am still... I'm sticking to my promise that I shall make this decision by tomorrow night. I shall do it, and it shall be fair, and it shall be good. This is not the whims of a female, this is real science.
I know not what science thou speak'st of, but I grant ye what airtime thou wishest. I
wish not airtime, I wish to hold your hand. It is hand time.
Dear sweet, I hold thy hand, and I quaff a wine as ere I do.
And cheers to thee. And cheers to, I hope, our future.
A fine Syrah, brought to me by that Syrah there.
That, I see no one now.
'Tis a servant has left, and left me here with thee.
Yes, a lowly servant. A lowly servant am I.
In the wall comes he.
There is a tapestry He did come from behind.
Now, here I am.
Ah!
Fully in the chamber is he now?
Yes, I am but a lowly servant, but have brought you this gift of Zinfandel to toast your impending nuptials.
Well, I shall freely take what freely is given.
Perhaps we'll make the time go faster for you.
Ah, indeed. The fruit of the vine does do that for some. Let's hope it does for me.
This man does say he is a servant in my home. He does seem familiar to me, yet I know not his name. Good sir,
Yea,
by what are you called?
I am called Gisaldo, my lady.
'Tis a normal name. Do not think it twice.
From the Western Indies. Good my lady, may I have a word with Ronaldo? I have an important message to deliver him concerning the impending nuptials and a gift which he hath ordered from the Amazons.
I already too much information have. I shall wait outside in the corridor.
I thank thee, my lady, I thank thee. Good sir, thou appearest woozy.
I know not what has come upon my brain, but indeed 'tis vapors within my skull.
Well, I shall tell thee, my brother. Dost thou recognize me now? Yea, for I was disguised, and thou couldst not possibly tell who I was until now.
Seeming, aye.
Listen closely, for I have but a few minutes. The next
Aye.
time that thou shalt see Philippa, thou shalt release vile vexations from your mouth. Insult her, importune her, say the most vile things you can about her, for that is what she deserves.
Brother, 'tis not 15 minutes yet.
Almost.
Aye.
All right, that's all. I cannot count any higher than I have already.
Oh,
I have returned to the gold room, and I wonder why the servant is still here.
I beg your pardon, milady, for I just needed but a signature for delivery. I shall go now and leave you two to plan the mighty and fortunate day. Good day to you.
But of course, you may leave the way you came. Ronaldo, something strange is on you.
Good toad, what speakst thou to me now?
What? Ronaldo?
What
Callest me a toad?
covering hast thou? Why wouldst thou approach me? I who am thy better, I who have a fortune.
I bet, well, yes, but no name, remember that. That is what this whole incident is. Ronaldo, thinkest thou like this to me?
I name thee hag.
I name thee bastard.
I name thee witch.
Devil.
Hobgoblin.
Administrator.
I name thee the very scum that on the surface of the pond doth sit, awaiting nibbles from a passing fish.
Leave now this house, and come not hither. Expect no answer from me tomorrow neither.
Wouldst not return to this house for all the goods in Christendom.
Now, without another salt-encrusted word. Not one, nay, go, go.
Oh, why made I this wager with my wife? My duties normally consist only of sweeping and cleaning, simple things, yet I did bet her that I could cook better than she, and she not clean as well as I. Well, I shall show her. I have no idea how to shuck an oyster, but I know those who do, and they come here anon. Ah,
There you are, good Sir Lupio. As I did see in my vision, and Denuncio did agree that my vision was most physicalized, and I had a need to bring thee these.
I did see thee in a vision as well. It is clearly fated that I bring these oysters to our kitchen, already shucked.
We do provide a full shuck service, and Denuncio is very good at shucking.
I would be pleased to shuck for you, sir. I will shuck, shuck, shuck from morn to night.
I did think to ask thee to teach me, but this be better. Canst thou shuck 100 more of these?
I could shuck and teach as one.
Denuncio, in the pack upon thy back, there be 100 more oysters. Dost thou need to know how to prepare? For indeed, Lupio, they could be barbecued. Thou couldst eatest them raw. They could slide most snottily down thy throat, although I do not necessarily recommend it, for indeed, we know not why, but sometimes they can cause damage upon thy brain.
Ah, and with the smoke of the wood of that one mesquite tree around the corner of the castle, thou couldst smokest them, making them more delightful to those who not normally eat them.
Gentlemen, I am in thy debt. How shall I repay you for this service you have done me? I am but a poor servant.
Some wine?
Aye, that would most please the palate. We are most parched from a day on the beach, and indeed the sand might have gotten between our teeth. That is where Denuncio pushed my face down in a hilarious jape, and I did eat a mud pie, I believe is what he referred it to.
Do thou come with me. I know a secret entrance, and thou may get into the castle without being seen and thrown out.
We follow thee, good Lupio.
Denuncio, it doth come as my vision foretold. We are to go inside something greater than a hovel. Look, there be more than 4 walls.
It is built of stone, good Genomio.
Stone! I dreamed not of such honor.
Lupio is far ahead, good Genomio. Let us follow.
We must run. Indeed. I'm trying.
Would my lady Philippa weep not, for thou hast no spare tears thou must give up. Soon thou shalt be entirely dehydrated and shriveled unto a small bone. Oh, I do beg thee, as I have begged anyone ever, thou must stop crying. Oh, for he be a dreadful husband. It is true that he could ever say such a thing to you.
Nay, I weep for situations gone past, not him gone past.
Oh, dost thou in faith? Why, so thou mayst, but I thought I might be able to cure this situation if thou wert both to have a fine dish of oysters. Why, you know what that would bring upon thee.
I fear that nothing can cure the illness which has fallen on our love. Oh me, I have driven him away. It is no wonder that he spoke to me so harshly.
Why, lady...
I did wind up his heart like too much string.
The heart is a beating piece of meat, and thou must tenderize it. Oh, that meat which is red and flowing of blood, that meat which when picked up is warm to the touch. Oh, thou mayst have it again, and I know 'tis true. Oysters, lady, I am convinced oysters are the answer, and I have sent my husband, fool though he may be, forth to garner us oysters, and I am sure they will help thee.
And I am here, at thy curious summons to learn how to eat this feast.
Well, soon my husband will arrive, and I will teach thee the secrets of the oysters.
I know nothing of oysters, yet I am ready.
Ah, Lupio, Lupio, hast thou brought what I told thee, man?
Aye, indeed, good lady. Observe the shucked oysters.
Ah, oh.
Why, Lupio, I hadst never guessed that thou should come upon such a quantity of oysters and shuck them so quick. What a man thou art.
Dost thou need a blade to open these?
Aye?
Aye, a small blade, though once they are shucked, they pop open quite easily.
Aye, I have seen it many times as there are oysters in this bowl.
Why, Lupio, canst thou hand the Lady Philippa a blade?
Oh.
Reach behind thee and grab it thence. Ah, there we are.
Oh,
Very good. Very excellent good.
all right.
Perfect. Now, simply slide the blade between the two edges of the shell. Pop it up.
Thus.
Thus.
Oh.
Now, oysters, as so many things, are really but a delivery system for butter. And so I have the melted butter right behind thee, that thou mayst dip the oyster unto the butter, which gives it a little more texture that is a little less slimy in the rawness of things.
I was going to ask what of the premonitory juices.
Yes. Now, if thou wilt lap the juices as well, why, so much the better, for it will bring thy man to his knees when he sees what thou hast for him.
I think this may be an answer to mine problem. I think thou art wiser than thou hast given thyself credit for, Truvia.
Believe me, I have given myself a great deal of credit over time, have I not, Lupio?
Aye, whatever thou dost say, my love.
And oysters will cure all matter of ails, not just the ails of love, but, ailments of thought, ailments of memory, all sorts of
Trivia.
ailments for the crew. Yes?
What if Rinaldo has a spell upon him, or a sickness of the mind? Would these oysters
Well,
cure him of these so?
I do not know if that is the case, but if it is, indeed, 'twill cure it. Let's away now, and soon we shall find your good Rinaldo and present him thus with such a dinner as he has never tasted.
Good Lupio, may I keep your knife?
Aye, indeed, for I have completed all of the shucking and no longer need it.
Well spake, Truvio. I am off.
And now, my evil plan is afoot, and thank you, ministers of mischief, for bringing the inspiration down to me. My brother Rinaldo is now out of her favor, and the second phase of my plan shall begin. I'll to the lady, as myself, and woo her, taking her side against my brother. I'll gain her affection that way. But what if the potion should somehow wear off? Well, I'll take care of that as well by dispatching my brother in the forest at midnight tonight. Yes, dear gods, upon my life, I shall not rest until I take Philippa for my wife!
Let's give a hand for Act 1 of The Quarrel of Lovers and our comedy sports players. Now, before we move on to Act 2, we need you, our loyal audience, to weigh in on whether you would like this show to end as a comedy or a tragedy. The poll is up right now. Get your votes in. A comedy or tragedy will be laughter or tears Will it be marriage, or will the bodies hit the floor? It is up to you, our loyal fans. We're gonna just leave this poll open for 1 minute, so get those votes in. Oh, comedy is really doing well right now. Tragedy, friends, get your votes in. Da, 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 da. Bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor. No? No? Comedy, we're feeling the love. I feel like this is a very loving group. We want to see marriage and happiness clearly, as 66% right now are weighing in. Woo, 67 for a comedy. You have 15 more seconds, 14, 13. We're going to close that poll, so get your votes in. Everybody has a say in this. Dun, 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 dun. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And the poll and the audience has spoken, friends. 67% of you would like this play, The Quarrel of Lovers, to end as a comedy. Now we're going to give our players just a quick break. And while they confer, I would love to tell you about some of our upcoming events. So some of you may know that oh, hello. All right. Mr. Jeff Kramer, if you could make sure that I can share my screen, that would be lovely. All right. We have some exciting events coming up here at Silicon Valley Shakespeare every weekend. And I will share this with you in just a moment. Here we go. Perfect. And we're so appreciative of you voting. Coming up next, we have on Sunday, August 2nd, a new play, staged reading, Lot in Life, as a rabbi presents the biblical tale of Lot, and his wife steps out of the story to show what really happened. Lot's wife reveals the unabridged story as told by the Bible from her very own sauteed perspective in this virtual staged reading. We'll also be having a post-show talkback with playwright Doug Brooke, hosted by Beth David. Tickets for that event are just like this. They are free, but reservations are required. Our staff member, Melissa Jones, is going to drop this link in the chat so you can click on it. Easy access, but sign on up for that. That'll be a Sunday matinee. We hope you can join us for this exciting free event. After that, we have a lot more coming up. In fact, 1 week before that, if those of you who are interested in a book club, you have 1 more week. You can join in on SVS's first ever book club. We're trying to keep it fresh, keep it exciting, so we have ways to connect with our community all summer. Check that out on our website. Melissa's also going to drop in a little page link here for our Shakespearean Saturdays, and all these are included, and they have links with more information. So Melissa, if you could do that. We would love for you to join the book club. If you weren't able to catch up on the book this round, we are going to do more book clubs in the fall and winter, so stay tuned for that. We would love for you to join us. Also on 8/8, we have a Peninsula Backstage interview we'll be airing to get us in the mood for Julius Caesar. We will have interviews with director Richard Farrell and actors Del Picato and Larry Barrett, and that will get us ready for the 15th on that Saturday night. If you didn't see our Julius Caesar in 2016, we'd love for you to join us. Even if you did, come enjoy it again, invite your friends. Again, all these events are free to you. On the 22nd of August, we are going to be doing our second virtual edition of Shakespeareans, our A Pub, a Play, and a Pint. We encourage you to come along. We'll have a drinking game as our players perform The Tempest. That show will also feature many out-of-town actors. We even have the founder of Silicon Valley Shakespeare, Miss Dina Myers, will be joining in to play a role all the way from New Zealand. So we really hope you can join us. We also have SVS alumni from LA, some in Oregon, Washington, and an actor in Texas. So it's going to be really exciting. Hope you can join. And if you missed our last Bard Talk, our amazing dramaturge, Del Picato, can teach you a little about the history of Macbeth. It's on our YouTube page. We have a second episode coming up on August 29th at 7 p.m. That episode is going to focus on women in theater and giving you a little history so you can be prepped to watch Silicon Valley Shakespeare's first ever all-female cast in The Comedy of Errors. That's our 2015 production. We'll be having a free watch party. It's a great time. We hope you can join us with all your friends. So look out for those exciting events. Now, we are so appreciative of Comedy Sports, again, volunteering for us tonight, entertaining you. They're amazing. We love them, and we want you to support them as well. Melissa's going to drop the links to the various Comedy Sports. We have San Jose, LA, and Portland Comedy Sports represented here, and also, of course, our SVS Comedy Sports alumni, Drew from Seattle. So if you can click on those, they have virtual shows going on most weekends. You can go as many times as you want. The show's always different. It's great, and it's a way for you to connect with other friends in other cities. Invite them, come, be ready to laugh. It's amazing. Last but not least, if you're somebody who helped donate for this production tonight, we just want to say thank you. We appreciate you so much. This allows us to continue our free programming and also ensure that we are able to come back and provide free Shakespeare in the Park next year. Our free Shakespeare in the Park at Willow Street, San Jose, which is free to all of our productions. Even Sanborn Park is free for 17 and under. All of our Shakespearean programs are free. We have education programs. We are really reaching out to our community, and we couldn't do it without your help. If you weren't able to donate yet and you're unable, that's okay. But if you are, we appreciate you maybe clicking on that link Melissa's going to put on the chat and donate whatever you can. No amount is too small or too large. We appreciate everything, and it really helps us keep going. And I just have to say thank you for your support, friends. Stay safe, everyone. I mean, Will wears a mask, so should you. All right, everybody. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome back our Comedy Sports players for Act 2 of The Quarrel of Lovers.
Methinks I did a dream of love enjoy, a time when love was true and love was kind. But hazy 'tis, and now I do forget, and memories indeed only arrive of a cruel enchantress, gross to me like a toad, a venomous thing which did indeed repel. Alone I stand now in this shady wood, awaiting what I know not, yet I was bid.
Oh, my lord, it is good to see thee. Dost thou not remember your humble servant, the delivery man?
I remember thee.
Dost thou? I would be surprised that thou hadst recollection of my visage.
I remember thee not, but the delivery man, yes. I know thee not, Scotsman.
Well, perhaps you would remember better if I were to reveal myself by removing my disguises.
I stand amazed and see thee, brother.
Aha! I fooled thee.
Aye. And
I am
thou
but thy
hast-
second here, Ubaldo. Yea, onward, take thy brother down in all of the misery he deserves.
Oh, I shall, but first, since you will not live much longer, allow me to reveal my plan to you.
Please speak now, for I know not why thou hatest me so.
Thou won the heart of the Lady Philippa. Over me, thy brother, thy better-looking brother, I might add. I do not know why you took her heart's favor, but no matter. Once I dispatch thee thusly, I shall return to the castle and put my sympathies upon her, turning her heart towards me, and claiming that which is rightly mine.
Yea, Ubaldo, to him, I say.
I shall, Zinfandel, but first, let us toast our impending victory, shall we?
I should like to toast as well.
Now, stando sunder, you shall not toast with us, you are not worthy. Move aside, move aside.
Thou dost not need much reason for me to toast. Yea! But this is the best reason of all, for Ronaldo shall suffer the soul-crushing defeat that he has sent lingering upon my soul, lo, these 20 years. Yea, in front of the girl that I loved, my pants were but hiked up through my crack, up to my neckline, and yea, suffered the embarrassment of all the ages. Huzzah!
I know thee now. I know thee now.
Ah! Does my ass crack remind thee of something?
Aye, it remindeth me of itself, for indeed I've seen it before.
Hush, Ronaldo, for we are but toasting each other. Let us another toast, mighty Zinfandel, this to my impending wedding. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Stand here quite incapable of fighting for myself.
I said keep your lips together. We must do another toast, mighty Zinfandel. Where were we? Another toast to the impending riches that shall come with Philippa's dowry.
Yes, to stealing nuptials.
Right. A mighty elixir you have, Zinfandel, for it doth make me woozy.
Thou must pace thyself, or else thy wares will go faulty.
Pace schmace! I'm getting married! A toast to my impending nuptials!
May I speak now?
Nay, you may, but first let me finish my impending nap, which I believe is coming over me.
Waldo.
I love
Waldo,
thee.
waketh! Wake!
I love these infidel. I love thee.
And yet I stand here still quite incapable of removing myself from this shady wood. I am utterly under thy spells.
Oh, mighty infidel. Dost thou have any more from thy potions that we mayst drink from?
Indeed.
I am feeling woozy. I need something that would take away all effects of all of thy potions to sober me for my wedding.
Yea, I do but have a double Carmelato. It be bequeathed with a double shot of caffeine that doth vex all previous vexations and do course through thy blood.
I do not trust thee, old man. Ronaldo, taste it for me to make sure it doth not have poison in it.
'Tis fatty, but not poisoned.
I think the...
Of oysters strongly.
Denuncio.
Oh, we are surprised.
Hey,
We are most
Genomio.
inebriated in it.
Genomio, I see more people.
I do see them as well, but are they but visions in the golden dappled leavings
Waldo,
of the forest?
Waldo, I do see the one wearing the fez. The fez has mastery over all of my powers, for yea, nothing that I can render upon the fez will have any effect. I must but retreat back to mine hovel.
Ye gods, I stand here waiting rescue!
Genomio.
Yes, sir. We do happen to have upon us three. That be three, correct, Denuncio?
Three.
Three.
Three is correct. Not two.
No, that would be too few.
Nay, four.
No, that would be too many.
I know not what these numbers represent.
They represent the number of oysters that we still have upon ourselves that we did not give. Yonder castle.
We meant to, but we are now shamed in our aspect that we failed.
I indeed, but one did fall into the deepest of my pantaloons' pockets. And I do have the one here. Denuncio.
I have one in my cup that I have drunk from.
I'm sure that makes the ale most delicious.
'Tis pickled.
Ye sots, why posit now upon the of these oysters?
For
Why
indeed.
speakest thou of them so?
Well, listen.
Aye.
You should eat one. Or 3.
Take one, see if thou dost enjoy it. But most importantly, of these oysters, there is a bit of a turning that doth run through the cerebral behaviors and can make thee free of any mind control that might happen to have coincidentally happened to thee.
For
I know not.
oysters course through the brain, be dashing it with sunlight.
Aye, indeed. A day without oysters is like night.
Fortune, thou hast smiled upon me. Thou hast provided me the panacea which I need. The scales, they lift from mine eyes. I see that, in fact, Philippa remained as kind and virtuous as ere she was, and I but bewitched was. Evil Ubaldo, evil brother, cruel, cruel fate. Thank thee, fate, for being kind now.
Good sir,
Aye.
I intended to give you a second oyster, yet I drank it.
It's all right, Denuncio. He seems to be free, and if there be one thing that our 2 of being on the coast of Dunsinane Cove hath taught us, it is that love doth run true. Go back to thee, and we shall go back to our cove, for we have seen the sun, and now it is time for us to grovel.
Aye, to the castle must I flee, and my sweet love Philippa waiteth for me.
So you see, my dear wife, I did cheat upon our wager by purchasing the oysters instead of shucking them myself. I do abase me, and will do anything thou asketh, according to our bet.
Why, Lupio, I do forgive thee, for upon this time thou hast learned to use thy half-wits, and now hast thou brought such a quantity of oysters that those that your friends took upon the forest to do what I know not, leaves us not bereft. We have yet more, and Lady Philippa and Lord Rinaldo upon his return may have them also.
I do say that if Rinaldo does return to me, for which if he did not, I would not blame, I believe that tasting of these oysters shared would bring his love back to me.
'Tis true, I am certain. So let us put them out here upon the platters in a most lovely fashion, so that they shall, to all, look like the most sumptuous feast they have ever seen.
Truvia, Lupio, tell me truthfully, had my father and my mother no name to speak of, wouldst thou hold them in any high regard?
Yes. Aye, 'tis true, we would. We would.
As
Totally.
high regard as a host of a feast, or a common customer to an apothecary on the street?
Host of a feast.
Yes, host of a feast.
Aye. Oh,
Why, here is Lord Rinaldo now.
Rinaldo!
Philippa,
Oh,
I was bewitched, Philippa.
oh, as I am bewitched now.
I would not speak such cruelty to thee for all the goods in Christendom.
I knew it was an ungodly spell that had fallen upon you. I hope not a permanent offense to the brain, but something which you can return from. And now I see your smile and know it's true.
Time shall tell if lasting consequences be. But this cur, this bound wretch, is responsible. I have brought him here to face the king's justice.
I love thee, man.
Is this not the servant Gazaldo?
That you thought it was when I was in disguise, but I reveal myself for who I really am, that scoundrel that he has spoken of.
Why, what a trick, and I should never have recognized the difference of thy visages.
It was indeed an elaborate disguise and an elaborate jape, but I realize now the error of my ways. True love, I cannot fight. For you, Ronaldo, and you, Philippa, are destined to be husband and wife.
And true love, I can no longer fight, for I know that even if you were poor and I were nameless, we would be happy.
Then wilt thou marry me, Philippa?
I will marry thou here, if there be someone to do the deed. Oh.
Good gentles, I am a passing friar. I met 2 idiots near the cove who said my services may be desired.
Why then, friar, we shall wish thy services immediately, and after that shall we all feast upon these oysters here, and it will be a thing most dear.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! And how about do I take?
Let's give a hand to our comedy sports players and the Quarrel of Lovers. We are so happy you could join us tonight, everyone, from near and far. Thank you so much to our players. They have agreed that if you are interested in asking any questions about their process, they're going to come on for a quick Q&A. We're going to open the chat back up, and we are going to let you ask some questions, friends. So let's see, the chat is getting ready. But before we do releasing the chat, can you give them a big round of applause and some love in that chat first? Woo, woo, woo. Let's hear it for the players. Release the chatting. I love it.
It's released.
Amazing. Excellent work, everyone. For those of you that are not going to stay for the Q&A, we hope we see you at some of our upcoming events these weekends. We hope you go see comedy sports shows in San Jose, LA, and Portland. Go support the arts.
And Seattle, too. You can see Drew play at Comedy Sports in Seattle as well.
Seattle, great. I'll get that link while you guys are answering questions. All right, now we're going to save the chat now for questions for our players, and let's hear it.
Oh, can we introduce Scott? You can see Scott down there in the corner. You haven't seen him. Scott Getline was playing harpsichord, improvising harpsichord music throughout tonight's match. So there he is.
Give it up for Scott. Everybody, the chat is loving on you. And Melissa did just drop all of our links in there too for Lawton Live, the comedy sports, and she added Seattle. Thank you, Melissa. You're the best. And the donate button.
Cool.
How do you memorize all those lines?
I told you we'd get that question.
Doug?
Doug Brock.
Oh, that's a good one.
There's a question of how much rehearsal went into it.
Years.
100 years of improv experience. No.
Well, actually, that might be interesting to find out what the total is from the 9 people, including Scott.
Oh, golly.
Well, let's see. Pat, you and I started doing comedy sports, and Tom in 1987
Yes.
in San Jose. Derek joined us, what, about a year after that?
I started in '88. Yeah.
So did Ruth.
Yep.
And then,
So yeah, that's a lot.
and then
So,
Drew, you started with us.
truthfully, the rehearsals for this have been, we met 3 weeks,
Mhm.
3 Wednesdays in a row.
For the rehearsals for this specific.
Yes. Yeah.
thing, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Rick, you've played how long?
I've been improvising since '93. I started comedy sports in 2001.
That was 2002.
Rookie.
I know, right?
Amy, how
92?
about you? 92?
So it's a
Not
lot.
a while as well.
Oops. I got 2,876.
That's not right.
I don't think that's right.
That's good though. Hey, there's another question on the thing. What's been the biggest challenge moving to a virtual platform? Which all of our teams have been doing that. Who wants to start?
Yeah, I actually have a lighting is the biggest challenge that I've run into. So I've got a light up here, I've got a light up here, and I've got a light over here. It's about 2,000 degrees where I'm sitting, but this is also that you don't get shadows and you don't get any of the background coming in. You kind of have to make a little studio in your space where you're performing, which is not usually a problem when you're on stage.
Amy?
I would, yeah, okay.
Oh, my biggest challenge is I wear reading glasses. And if I want to be a character that does not wear reading glasses, sometimes I hit the wrong button.
It's also hard to read the chat with that.
Yeah.
There's another question.
I'm
My
gonna-
contact lenses. That's been the problem tonight.
I'm going to say that based on this and my experience with directing some online readings, the added pressure of technical difficulties, such as I experienced this evening, right as the show was starting, is an unforeseen circumstance that adds a pressure not present in the live shows so much.
We're rarely kicked out of the theater when we're about to go on.
However, unexpected things happen all the time. And so this was a testament to the training of all of the improvisers. As soon as we realized, so Tom was supposed to be in the second scene tonight. And as soon as we realized Tom was frozen, in the chat area, we were like, who's going to take Tom's place? Someone said, okay, I'll jump in and take Tom's place in the scene. And we all just kind of rotated. And then during the third scene, Tom got back online and in the chat area basically said, what did I miss? And I just, Tom,
What's going on?
I said, don't worry about that now. I'm going to be, an evil brother and I'm meeting you in the forest. That's all you need to know.
You said you're a wizard in the woods. That's what you said.
Wizard in the woods. Yeah, there you go. So that's all.
Likes to take a wizard in the woods.
Tom got that about 20 seconds before our scene was supposed to start. And then we just kind of went on and made it happen. So, I mean, that's a challenge that happens in any improv show, that things just kind of come up and we're just trained to be able to deal with them quickly. So even in this format, those kind of unexpected things happen and did happen tonight.
Yeah.
So,
Rick?
Wizard in the Woods is an underrated Zeppelin track, but my biggest the biggest challenge to me is the audience isn't present. Like that is the amount of energy that you get with an audience, even if we even an audience that is silent gives you a lot of energy, and with this. You know that the audience is, well, you have faith that the audience is there and watching and not like just, turned on MacGyver. But I think not having that, you really have to kind of put extra trust in yourself and your fellow performers because you get no feedback in the moment.
There are a couple of questions. One came from the Q&A, a couple from the chat about, does this affect your timing? And things, and I can say absolutely it does. There's a lag of about a half a second to sometimes 3/4 of a second in Zoom, and sometimes you think, oh, this is my time to go. And two people do it because you don't have that thing where you're standing on a stage together and can feel somebody about to speak. There's really a thing. It's maybe a little bit hearing, maybe a little bit intuition, maybe a little bit just physical change in the air pressure or something, but you can feel when somebody's about to go. Particularly if you've worked with them. And that's doesn't happen here. So yeah, we run over each other all the time. Ruth?
And also particularly in those faster games that we did at the beginning. So the Weird Sisters and the Sonnet and the, what's that game called? That Rick and I commentated?
Slow-mo.
Slow-mo, yeah, the Shakespearean slow-mo. Because they are meant to move really fast and we're used to doing them in a really rapid way, we have to be sure that we're keeping in mind, I mean, we still want that lag to not be present, but we also have to be careful not to step on each other. So yeah, it is more of a challenge.
Yeah, and in that game, that's one too, where on stage we are interacting more physically and we practiced this for 3 weeks, figuring out ways to make us actually able to attack each other and make it look like maybe we really were.
Yep.
You know, that it's been tough.
Yeah. So that helped answer how are we managing staging. Part of it was rehearsing a couple of times, and a couple of more than a couple of times, we're discussing it in chat, which is why we locked you out of chat, because with a lot of people going LOL and yay and what are they talking about in chat, all that stuff would roll by and we would miss messages to each other, which is kind of the equivalent if we're in our own theaters. Kind of you're over at the bench going, okay, we're going next. I want
to give a shout out to Portland, who's been doing Shakespeare shows regularly to give us our backgrounds, so that our chats we could say, okay, we're going to go up, we're in the gold room, we're in the forest, and so at least we could coordinate that as far as staging.
Hey.
We didn't use the red room tonight.
We did not use the red room.
We need to do improvised Lynch next.
There's a question of are your relative positions known in advance, or are you positioned randomly at the whim of Zoom? So I'm assuming you mean our positions on the screen on there, and that is different for each of us. So, to me right now, Rick is on my left.
No, he's on my right.
Yeah, see?
On my right, but you're on my left, Jeff.
Yeah. On my right.
So we had to kind of get used to that, because we couldn't just do scenes the way we normally would, where if I see, for instance, to me, Ruth is on my right. If I turn this way, that would just look weird. So we just had to kind of get used to playing straight to the camera and just assuming that the person was across from us wherever they were. And that took some getting used to.
Cool. Also in chat's not a question, but someone says Jeff is a really wonderful actor.
I had a good night tonight.
They put a question mark after it earlier. They were like,
"Oh yeah,
is a great actor."
I think that's what they meant. That's what they meant.
Good. We've seen better, but
yeah, I've seen better. Don't get me wrong. You
great.
did a nice job.
You guys were good.
I've seen better.
Awesome. I'm rolling through, and somebody else says they really enjoyed all the different characters who brought their unique way of bringing comedy into the scenes. Thank you for that. And a bunch of compliments and applause and emojis.
I think there was one that asked what kind of training comedy sports puts
sure. Good.
us through.
So you can start.
I didn't hear that.
Training.
What kind of training do you get at Comedy Sports?
As the education director for CSZLA, I will say excellent training. No, I think there's a lot of different schools of improv, literally and figuratively, and I think the big thing with Comedy Sports is a big emphasis on make each other look good. There are schools that are very much about like stake out your claim on stage and Comedy Sports is really nice. We're trained and training people to be kind improvisers who look out for each other on stage and off. I think that's the goal, at least. That's my goal.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like 25 years ago, I attended a comedy festival, and one workshop was led by somebody from Second City who said, "This is going to be the acting school of the 21st century." And it's interesting that I've been doing this long enough to see that it actually did come true. I really think comedy sports trains you in so many different skills, and I feel a little rusty because I've been stuck in my apartment for 6 months, but that it's just interesting how many different skills you have to learn through the training of comedy sports and other improv groups as well. But it really helps in auditions, and it helps in regular theater too,
and helps in business, which many
yeah.
of us are involved in doing applied improv training for businesses. I just did 2 sessions with a leadership group at Intel this week. So,
Yeah, that's interesting that there are so many companies now that are realizing that this type of soft skills training is really beneficial in the business field. When we first started, we were kind of laughed at, and now we're being looked to as, the experts in this particular field, and people are wanting to get this type of training to be able to, adapt, think quickly on their feet. Basically what we were doing tonight was a presentation, and a couple little things went wrong, but we didn't lose our composure, and we were able to just pivot and adapt and just keep going. I don't think anybody in the audience knew that Tom was out of the meeting at one point and had to log back in. You would never have known that from the way everybody adapted and were able to just keep on going.
You all knew a lot more than I did. So. There's a question from back a few minutes ago from Valerie that asked, what's the best part of doing a Shakespeare themed improv show compared to a non-themed show? And by the way, it's 249 total years on the screen.
Oh, wow. Nice time.
Almost 250.
yeah.
I think for me, it's just the exploration of the language that is so fascinating. I just really enjoy that. And we, in our comedy sports group in Portland, we spend a lot of time reading text together and, watching Shakespeare. And it's just, I just love the quality of the language and the poetry of it. And, that's, for me, that's what it is.
Cool.
I agree. I love getting to go into a scene and go, okay, I'm going to try to do this scene in blank verse, even though I'm improvising, and then going into a scene and thinking like, okay, I'm going to see if I can find an extended metaphor in here and play with that. Like the genre allows for so much like extra play within it.
Yeah, that's great. There's a couple.
Exactly. I'm pointing to my yeah.
Okay, there's a couple other things. One, I want to make sure we get Angie from the Bay Area asks, are you still doing company team building while you were online? And the answer is yes. Yes, we are. In fact, yes, please. Because it's one of the things that we can do for revenue. Because we have theaters that aren't open, and some of them are charging rent, you know what I'm saying? And there were a couple other questions that are related, a little tougher. We'll go to Amy, hasn't talked as much here. And that's, what's it like to, in this case, be a woman in a mostly male group for tonight? And then we'll move on from that.
Well, that's funny because usually I'm not in a mostly male group. So this is like, not weird at all. Everybody's equally gracious and polite to each other, and I don't know, we're a team, right, team?
Yeah.
I would like to say that when I started in comedy sports in whatever year that was, 80 something, the first few times I played, I was sometimes the only woman. Occasionally there were two. But I will have to say, at the time, the people that I worked with included Jeff and Tom and Patrick. And they were incredibly supportive. And there was no #MeToo crap. It was, I always felt very supported and able to do what I needed to do without feeling restricted in any way. And, Patrick and I started comedy sports up here in Portland, and we have tried, of course, and I think it helps in some ways to have a woman as one of your managers, but we have tried really, really hard to to bring as many women into our fold as we can. So yeah, and we're looking for more diversity across more lines now as well, and we've done fairly well with that, but we have a ways to go.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ruth.
Yeah.
Off to the left, I just want to say this has been great to be able, like, I've never played with Amy before. So I really want to have more of these kinds of things so that I can continue. I'm not getting to Portland anytime soon. Are Californians allowed there? I don't think so right now.
Not right now.
You know, so so this has been a really cool experience just overall. Plus, I was there with Pat and Ruth and Jeff and Tom way back when, and to actually play with Pat and Ruth again after 20 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's one of the nice things about Zoom, is to be able to play with people all across the country that you've never had a chance to. So even though there are some drawbacks to it, that is definitely the plus, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think I want to say,
Rick.
I think I played Ruth at Pat and Ruth's wedding. So
Nice.
Good enough.
Right.
And Rick, in LA, but our Shakespeare group in Portland has been having Rick teach for the last 5 or 6 weeks, which is a great thing. It's awesome. Great teacher too.
Yeah, someone actually mentioned in the chat that it's really great to be seeing people from all over the place, even though the circumstance of it is kind of sucky. It's amazing to be able to make these connections through technology.
Yeah, and the fact that we've all been trained in the same way has helped a lot too. You know, we all knew each other from before. We had a great respect for each other, and to be able to come together like this, it's just, the rehearsals have just been a lot of fun over the last couple of weeks. So it's been a nice reunion for us too. So
yeah, like Wednesday night, it was probably a half hour before we got.
Tom's got the CD.
There is one question that I saw here that we didn't hit on that might be a good one to end on.
Sure.
Pauline asked, what's the most difficult thing about doing improv? It seems super scary to me, but also exhilarating at the same time.
You've almost answered your own question, Pauline. It is scary, but it's also exhilarating. That's one of the things that draws me to it, is that, we have no idea what's going to happen on a given night. When we've done, for instance, when we did shows at Silicon Valley Shakespeare, Tom and Derek and I have been in them. We basically knew what was going to happen. We knew the plot. We had rehearsed. The only thing that was going to change was, the audience's reaction might be a little bit different from night to night. In this case,
moth in your mouth,
right, or bees on the microphones or something like that. But in this case, we didn't even know the title of what we were going to be doing. And so that was the exhilarating part, was we have no idea what's going to happen, but we know that we have to make something happen. As soon as the screen comes on, something has to happen. So that's the exhilarating part, but it's also the scary part. But, it's just to jump in and try it. We encourage everybody. We teach classes in all 4 cities. And so I'd encourage you to jump in.
Follow the links. Follow the links. That
I think it's the highest high you can get with the lowest impact to your body.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's mostly good.
I mean,
yeah.
Truth be told, we are all improvising in life every day. And it's really just a sort of way of shifting your mindset to gain more confidence to kind of do it in this platform.
That was so deep.
Yeah.
We should probably wrap things up, but we really want to thank Angie, Melissa, Doug Brooke at Silicon Valley Shakespeare, and we hope you're able to donate. And we hope that we've been able to share audiences together. So I'm hoping that there's some comedy sports fans that tuned in tonight to watch us that now are going to become fans of Silicon Valley Shakespeare, and cross promotion with Silicon Valley Shakespeare. Hopefully you'll have a chance to come and see us at some point at Comedy Sports. So, there's Angie.
Hi, Angie.
So, thank you so much, Angie, for setting this up and allowing us to come in and do this. We really had a blast.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much. This was such a great time. We are so looking forward to having you at future Shakespearean Saturdays. But again, support Comedy Sports. They're such a great organization. You can see, and just how open they were in the Q&A. It is a wonderfully creative group that is open to all. And You will enjoy them each and every time. I have been watching them since I was in middle school, friends.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to tell you how long that is.
Why did you have to say that, Angie?
Yes.
We are so old.
Since back in the day. So thank you everyone again for joining us. We hope to see you on more virtual platforms. You know, just because we are separated with walls doesn't mean we can't reach out and be a community together. So thank you. Our East Coast friends, you are up even later than we are. So
Yeah.
Get to bed.
thank you.
Cool. Well, thanks again, everyone. Scott, can you take us out with some music? There we go. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.